The Chadian military attacks Boko Haram from the air. Therefore, France gave Boko Haram missiles to shoot down the fighter jets. Are you saying that France gave Boko Haram anti-aircraft missile? Yes. France handed surface-to-air missiles to Boko Haram. They supplied the weapons to Boko Haram on the 16th of October. France has a military base on the Lake Chad. We received intelligent reports from the terrorist leaders we arrested that Nigerian authorities, on the orders of France, are planning to establish a terrorist headquarters in a forest called Gaba, located in Sokoto State. They want to turn that forest into the headquarters of a terrorist group called Lakurawa. This agreement was made between French government and ISWAP on the March 4th, 2024. Do you mean Boko Haram? No. I said ISWAP, not Boko Haram. ISWAP has ties with terrorist organization based in Mali. This agreement contains the details to open a Lakurawa headquarters in Gaba Forest, located in Sokoto State of Nigeria. It is from this place that the so-called Lakurawa terror group was planned to spread to Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi states of Nigeria. The terrorist leader we arrested informed us that Nigerian government are well aware. We thought Nigerian authorities did not know about their secret plan and decided to share the intel with Nigerian authorities. Nigerians are our brothers. We won't like anything that will hurt them. So we shared this secret information with the then Director National Intelligence Agency. His name is Ahmed Abubakar Rufai. We called him here and informed him of this conspiracy. We never thought he was part of the French plan. And he said he will send intelligence gathering officials to Niger to take the complete report from us. He sent the representatives, and we warmly received them here in Niger. Our intelligence agency sponsored them and transported them to different parts of Niger to gather data. We took them to Niamey and Far East, where they interviewed hundreds of high-profile terrorists we arrested. The terrorist gave them a detailed information on what France is trying to create in northern Nigeria. They then went back to Nigeria with the report. It was later that we unfortunately found out that something is fishy, because our intelligence revealed that Abubakar Ahmed Rufai is among the top coordinators of terrorists in Nigeria. He received money from abroad for the terrorists' upkeep. He sent them to Central African Republic to receive military training. And when they come back, he receives them and takes care of their weapons, feeding, salary, etc. We were only able to find this out much later. Already the mistake has been made because we trusted him and shared the intel with him. After we discovered this, we informed Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor. They all knew about the conspiracy and Rufai's complicity, but they all kept quiet. It was then we understood that they are all part of the plan. So we decided to take action on our part. We analyzed that after the invention and introduction of the so-called Lakurawa terror group, what actually will be their main goal and objective. We realized that their plan is to encircle us and blow up our oil pipelines. In the month of May, they asked their secret agents to map out our oil pipelines. They asked for the report of all the nooks and crannies that our oil pipelines follow. They asked for the photos and the videos to be sent to them, as they are already stationed in Benin Republic. In the operation, they plan to disrupt agriculture in Gui Basin, Lake Chad, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi. The third is in Benin Republic in a city called Porga. They plan to clear these places of farmers and people and station terrorists there. Porga is kilometers northwest of the station base of French Special Forces. As I talk to you now, this special force is already stationed there. They cannot easily evacuate even after hearing this, because they have already built solid structures there. They also have one other base in Benin Republic, in a place called Penjari. Porga is in the border with Burkina Faso, and Penjari borders Togo. The French Special Forces are stationed there. Before returning to the base, they spent months in a hotel in Cotonou. They are about 250. If we analyze their position and that of their terrorists, their goal becomes clear. Nigeria is in a mega mess. Niger Republic versus Nigeria, how much trouble are we in? The governments of Niger Republic has accused the Nigerian government of sabotaging their pipeline near the towns of Diondou, Lido and Karakara in the region of Dosso. Niger has also claimed that French and British soldiers are already in Nigeria and are actively setting up foreign military bases in Jigani and Gajigana. Northern Nigeria in cahoots with the Tinubu dictatorship to sabotage Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali. Now tell me, have I been wrong all along? But why would both British and French soldiers be setting up bases in northern Nigeria? Do you know? I do. Wait for my upcoming mega expose on this. It'll explain everything to the minutest levels. In the last few days, the internet has been awash with loads and loads of recorded and direct accusations against the Tinubu-led administration in Nigeria from the military head of Niger Republic, General Abdourahmane Chiani. In an interview with Radio Television du Niger, the country's state media outlet, on Wednesday, Chiani accused President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of conniving with France to destabilize Niger Republic. I'll take you through a litany of the accusations in great details. Chiani said that France promised to give Tinubu a certain amount of money in exchange for him ceding an area in Borno state of Nigeria, and said Tinubu should come out and tell Nigerians how much he collected from France. If he refuses to do so, there will be a day of reckoning. Allah is watching. Chiani also alleged that French military personnel were present on an island known as Kunawa, as well as places like Tangarawa and Dogonchuku. On this, Chiani stated, we repatriated 2 French officials who had relocated to Nigeria. They were warmly accepted by Nigeria. They provide training to terrorists. Chiani alleged that France designated an area as Canada, recruited many Nigerians, and enlisted them with the tacit knowledge of Nigerian authorities. Chiani accused France of arming Boko Haram fighters in the Lake Chad region with anti-aircraft weapons in order to combat Chadian forces. He alleged that when France realized the Chadian forces were using airstrikes against Boko Haram, they armed Boko Haram members with ground-to-air weapons so that they could bring down Chadian military aircrafts. Could this be the reason Chad sent French soldiers packing? Chiani equally accused the Nigerian government of funding the terrorist that sabotaged their pipeline near the towns of Diaundiu, Lido and Karakara in the region of Dosso, claiming these terrorists were armed by France on Nigerian soil with Tinubu's knowledge. The weapons were delivered on October 16, 2024. France has a base in Lake Chad. The reports we gathered from high-profile terrorists in our detention revealed a sinister plan. And by the way, Nigerian authorities are not unaware of this underhand move. It is near a forest close to Sokoto, where they wanted to establish a terrorist stronghold known as Lakurawa. The French and ISWAP terrorist group made this deal on March 4, 2024, Chiani insisted. According to Chiani, we explained France's sinister tactics to him, a former official of the Nigerian government. He promised to send a team of intelligence officers who later arrived in Niger, and we financed their entire operation. They had interactive sessions with various terrorists detained in our facilities. The terrorists confirmed everything we know about France's sinister motives. He himself, the former Nigerian government official, was involved in financing terrorist training in different locations, including in the Central African Republic. Chiani went ahead to mention names of some high-profile government and non-government officials, saying that another key government official was away, but that they all just chose to remain silent. We did all of this out of brotherhood with Nigeria. Alas, we didn't know that Nigeria's decline came from the leadership until much later, Chiani said. He later accused the leaders of Senegal, Benin Republic, Côte d'Ivoire and Nigeria of always running to France to collect money during elections and asked, how can you have the temerity to say no to the person who gives you money? Obviously, Nigeria flatly rejected all the allegations by Chiani and said those allegations existed solely in the realms of his imagination, claiming Nigeria never engaged in any overt or covert alliance with France or any other country to sponsor terrorist attacks or destabilize Niger Republic. So, tell me sincerely, who do you believe? Nigerian government or the government of Niger Republic? Watch the video. The first time that anything about French military presence in Nigeria went mainstream was when Mahdi Shehu made a tweet captioned, "End of denial, commencement of France military deployment in Nigeria." Shehu reportedly later deleted the post, obviously, because the white military officer in the background of that video happened to be the same British military officer who confirmed in later video that they were in northern Nigeria for training purposes. But before Shehu's post, Northerners had been vocal about the fact that French soldiers were in northern Nigeria, funding terrorist organizations and destabilizing the region, but no one provided any visual evidence. Just days after Shehu's video was debunked and deleted, Abdourahmane Chiani went public on Christmas Day with his allegations to prove that indeed, those who have been alleging French presence in northern Nigeria were not hallucinating. And he provided exact locations and dates of events he alleged were taking place. I really didn't have to ask you who you believe, because I already know that 98 to 99% of those reading this believe the Nigerian leader, Chiani over Nigeria or ECOWAS. And there are many reasons for this. First, immediately following the coup of July 26, 2023, that saw Chiani emerge as the transitional head of state in Niger Republic, we all saw how much pressure France mounted on ECOWAS to intervene militarily and reinstate the ousted pro-France Nigerian leader Mohamed Bazoum to power. Tinubu had just been made president of the regional bloc, ECOWAS. Thus, the Nigerian crisis became his first major challenge. As we waged a major continent-wide campaign against any form of ECOWAS-led military intervention in Russia-backed Niger, ECOWAS developed cold feet, probably after counting the cost, and decided not to go forward with this potentially cataclysmic military intervention. Right after that decision not to go forward with military action against Niger, Macron was livid. Understandably, Tinubu quickly ran to France for consultations with Macron. After those consultations, the tension kind of toned down a little. Many more consultations would happen over the next few months, and later culminating in the grand reception that Tinubu recently received in France, which made a quick trend on social media. I didn't find one critical thinker who wasn't uncomfortable with Macron's cozy relationship with Tinubu and the elaborate reception he received in Paris. Nigerians believed that this couldn't have happened if France hadn't been offered a replacement of land and resources in Nigeria for their losses in Niger Republic. When you look up locations of uranium deposits in Nigeria, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Adamawa, Taraba, Plateau, Bauchi, and Kano quickly come up. But it's been reported that actually, the uranium deposits in Sambisa Forest and the areas bordering Niger Republic is several times larger than the uranium deposits in all the other regions combined. And people believe this is why Boko Haram can't be defeated, because there are Western interests benefiting daily from this economic rape, as is always the case with Africa. Some of those uranium-rich areas is where many alleged French soldiers have been secretly situated, which would turn out to be a win-win because then they can steal resources and still have a good ground to plan counterattacks against Niger through terrorist organizations for kicking their French soldiers out of Nigerian bases and their exploitative French miners out of those lucrative Nigerian uranium mines. And while we were still speculating, Chiani dropped the bombshell. To make matters worse, ECOWAS suddenly roared back to consciousness in defense of Nigeria. End of discussion. With that ECOWAS defense of Nigeria on this matter, you're never going to be able to convince anyone in Nigeria or anywhere on the continent that Chiani's allegations against Tinubu and Nigeria are false. Never. The same Tinubu led ECOWAS that issued ultimatums to the new Nigerian administration and threatened fire and brimstone at the behest of France and the EU. The same ECOWAS that does not have any traceable record of fighting for West Africans against the colonials, or ever doing anything reasonable about the mostly Western-sponsored terrorist activities on our soil, because they're obviously bought and paid for by the West. Is this the bloc that's stepping out to defend Nigeria against Niger Republic? You let the cat out of the bag, if you ask me. People are not stupid. We now live in an information age and you can't get away with too much nowadays. We are not ignorant of the reasons why UK, and now allegedly France, would be very, very interested in northern Nigeria at this time. For those who may not know, beyond France's fight for survival in the region, after losing big to the citizens of Niger, there's something else. The former Nigerian president, Muhammad Buhari, appears to have cozied up pretty good to BRICS. This was done quietly, as they massively sensitized their people in virtually all of the core north. about the benefits of jointing the BRICS formation. This is why during the recent protests in Nigeria, Northerners were seen in large numbers waving Russian flags, just like their Nigerian counterparts. Didn't happen in the South, but Northerners owned it. Did you also notice that the reason most of those kids were arrested and punished severely was the fact they were waving Russian flags during the protests? That was stated as their crime, and you can see that in the link below. Joining BRICS would imply that Britain, like France, would lose its generational hegemonic hold on Nigeria forever, and Nigeria would become a free nation like Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Unfortunately, Buhari's activities seem to have been uncovered, I guess, and his plans to have a say on the transition of power, which would have steered Nigeria in that direction, didn't go well, because the colonials thwarted it and insisted on someone who would completely turn the tables and not just maintain the status quo, but entrench the status quo. They found Tinubu. That Chatham House ritual visit sealed the deal, followed with many other sessions where promises of keeping Nigeria together and under the feet of the British at all costs were likely deliberated and agreed upon. That right there marked the end of an era of the British trusting the North with the power structure of the fake Union of Nigeria. To this effect, the British will now actively relocate every organ of that power structure from northern elements and region to western elements and region. The North will no longer be the power brokers in Nigeria. The West will. The West will be elevated out of proportion in every aspect of human endeavor to make the North jealous, in the way that Easterners have been made jealous over the years for daring to challenge the British. And this will form part of the larger unfolding punishment for their betrayal of British trust, given that they've been the holders of the British neo-colonial mantle of control in Nigeria since the fake, non-existent independence. This is part of the video I promised to make, and I'll reveal more in that video whenever I'm able to put it together. So what you're seeing is the British getting more robustly involved in the Nigerian security architecture because these are critical times. And as far as they're concerned, it's only a matter of time before a Niger-style revolution knocks Nigeria out of their hands, and they're not ready to let this happen. With the Sahel states free, Nigeria is billed to be next, and the logistical support needed to make Nigeria the next member of the Sahel Alliance of Free States will have to come directly through Niger. So it makes a lot of sense to destabilize Niger and keep them busy with numerous terrorist organizations engaging them on multiple fronts, so they're never able to get a breather, let alone help Nigeria to break free from their colonial master, Britain. Stay tuned for more updates. Have a joyous new year.